Joseph Godlewski describes postmodernism as a term to describe a philosophical stance that questions modern assumptions about social progress, human reason, and a fixed notion of truth. There is a benefit in postmodernism because it strengthens the idea of viewing the architectural world in a less conformed way than in the past. Japanese architect Arata Isozaki tried to use comprehensive ideas to rework the principles in modern architecture. These aesthetics require abandoning the doctrine of the orthodox modernist. His designs emphasize the decentralization and disassociation of holders. For example, his plan, a part of City in the Air, has a similar appearance to the ruins of a Greek Doric order temple. Arata explains himself. Ruin is the status of today's cities, and the cities in the future world would become to ruins someday. These ruins imply that the world's architecture is unreliable and unstable. It also symbolizes the loss of integrity, balance, and stability. Arata uses mannerism to express this idea. He sees buildings as events that encompass the social and historical context, not to be defined forever by their everlasting materiality, but as texts to be interpreted and reread continuously. This idea of architectural syntax can be described as dynamic or ever-changing. Postmodernism can be thought of as one's perception of the world growing along with the development of human society. It is beneficial in a way that it allows for unique alterations and theories to sprout from ideas that already exist. Robert Venturi states, "Architecture is necessarily complex and contradictory in its very inclusion and the traditional Vertuvian elements of commodity, firmness, and delight." Postmodernism embraces ambiguity in architectural syntax and continues to encourage new interpretations of pieces developed specifically near the end of the 20th century. Postmodernism theories provide new ways to interpret architectural forms developed in the closing of the 20th century. In Japan-ness and Architecture, Isozaki identifies what is essentially Japanese in architecture from the 17th to the 20th century. In this opening essay, Isozaki analyzes the struggles of modern Japanese architects, including himself, to create something uniquely Japanese out of modernity. Throughout the book, he refers to architectural buildings as events and textual spaces. He does this to provide the audience an understanding of how architecture consists of more than just a building and how each piece has its own narrative. At the turn of the 19th century, Japanese architects found that former buildings in Japan had certain key qualities that should be transferred on to the new ideas of postmodernism. Architects at the time were trying to merge the Japanese styles with modern styles while not splitting them apart. One significant project was the Isijingu Shrine in Japan. Isozaki stated that the shrines were the earliest symptoms of Japanization after the political turmoil of the 17th century. The Isijingu is unique in a way where the main sanctuary of the shrine is rebuilt and slightly relocated every 20 years. To Isozaki, the process obscures the origins of both the shrine and the state that built it, and replaces them with a perpetual process of beginning. He also argues that the periodical ritual relocation of Isa's main sanctuary counters the modernist view of architectural everlasting permanence. The structure of the Isijingu is constructed to conceal the origin of architecture before the 17th century. For example, to create a concealing effect, the isi uses multiple layers of hedges to block the visitor's view, and how the interior of the main structure of the temple is completely veiled. The concealing effect that exists in the isi also acts as a symbolic gesture and a hierarchical aspect to the project. This further emphasizes Isozaki's point of view to buildings as a narrative and a text to be interpreted continuously. An example of Isozaki's work that is praised for combining the clarity of pure geometric forms with a sensitivity to cultural context is the art tower in Mito. As Beckful puts it, this structure exemplifies the influence of sculptures in his form making. Not only this, but Isozaki uses the geometric forms of tetrahedrons in a stacking formation to construct the tower. This all results in a spatial narrative that is told through these forms, and one that is in line with the qualities of postmodern ideas. The world of architecture is ever-changing, and postmodernism is the embodiment of this change. Isozaki, through the projects in his book, explained postmodernism and how it affects both himself and the architecture in Japan. With ambiguity showing dominance in the architectural world, architectural syntax has never been more important than it previously has.